Hi, my name is Linsay VanderVeen, and back in early 2014, I had started to have some very, very extensive back pain. At times, it felt like I was being electrocuted, and I had also started to lose the feeling in my feet and in my legs. I had been to my doctor. I had been doing chiropractic work. I did acupuncture. I did physical therapy. I did massage, and nothing was making it better. So I decided after work on a particularly painful day to just go to the ER by myself. When I finally got in to see the doctor and I told him about my symptoms, he said, well, let's go ahead and do an MRI and see what's going on. And it's important to know that I was incredibly claustrophobic. Even getting on an elevator with multiple people, or being on a long flight and being stuck in the middle seat or the window seat, I would panic. Even the summer before, we had gone camping for the first time, and I couldn't sleep at all because the sleeping bag just felt too constricting. So the idea of getting in an MRI tube was terrifying to me. And I'll never forget as they laid me down on the table and they started to push me in, and they told me I had to hold perfectly still and not to breathe too deeply. I started to panic and my heartbeat just raced and I felt like I couldn't breathe and my body was so tense, and I just cried out in my mind, Lord, please help me, please help me. And all of a sudden a verse came to my mind that I had learned when I was a little girl. My parents had taught me this because I was afraid of the dark, and it was, for God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and strength and a sound mind. And I just started repeating that verse over and over and over again in my mind until I realized that my body had started to calm down and my heart rate had gone back to normal and I could breathe. And I just had this peace that washed over me. And I started to pray for a friend of mine that was dealing with cancer at the same time I was. And then after that, a friend of mine that had cancer who was even younger than me. And then a family member, and then a friend. And the next thing I knew, I was being pulled out of the tube. And I just remember thinking, that is the supernatural peace that surpasses all understanding. How that fear dissipated and I was able to get through that MRI. And it's funny because I've done more than 100 MRIs in the last almost 8 years. I've done 19 alone this month, this year, but every time I go into that tube, I think of the first time and how the Lord was with me. And now I have this opportunity where if I'm in the waiting room waiting for my scan, I'll ask someone else that's waiting, would you tell me your name so that I can pray for you while I'm in my scan and you're in yours? Because now when I'm in there, it's just a time of prayer and worship. And there's such a peace that was never there the first time that I did it. And that initial MRI did not give me great results. And I've had many, many MRIs that have also given me not great news. But no matter what I've gone through in the last number of years with my health journey, the Lord has always been with me. I've had such a peace in every single step of this process. Not because it's always great news, but it's because I always have the Lord with me. That Holy Spirit, the fact that Jesus was born and then died and resurrected, I could never think of why it would be good for Jesus to leave the earth, right? But he said that he would send the Holy Spirit. And I have personally experienced the peace that that Holy Spirit brings in the good times and in the bad times and all the times in between. One of my favorite verses is, he will keep in perfect peace him whose mind is steadfast because he trusts in you.